Alright guys, what's going on? I wanted to do a video talking about a little bit my strategy and just short stocks that are, essentially broken or finding the top of a stock. Um, the past couple of months and years, I've recognized that I've been able to find tops of stocks very well, and stocks that are broken down as well. So basically what that means is whether it's the very top or a top within, intraday. It's to me, it's exactly the same thing. So when you identify a level where the last, before that moment is going to be the top of the rest of the day. So SOS would be a good example today. If you look back at the chart, you can see where each level was. When this stock came up, I had a little bit of an idea. I, started a little bit early, didn't work, so stop it out. And I went back in, looking left around 390, 380, and just small size, and just waited until I knew the top was in. And so it came down, tested, and there's a trend. So the trend for my strategy always matters. Okay, so here's the trend. The trend was broken. So, we think we're right, but we don't know, right? And all the longs have bought on the trend, or maybe even thinking it's going to trap, and it comes back up to test the trend, and not only did it pull back, but it completely botched down onto VWAP. Now it's only 10. A lot of stocks can go up 10, 15, 10, 30 plus and just continue on, but it's my assumption, knowing the stock and knowing the action and knowing what else was going on, that it was just going to fail all day. So now I know the top is in, so now you can add. You can even add immediately in this, which is exactly what I did. Add right here, and my average is now up here. Because the reality is, if this stock goes back up to where it completely failed from, then I'm wrong. There's no reason to set my stop way up, over high day or see what it does over high day. That's ridiculous. If it goes back up and holds from where it snapped, then it has changed from a fading stock to something else, which is not something I want to hold short. So basically, now you know that that is your risk. That is the top. You've started with a starter. You've added size. Your average is probably somewhere around here, risking here. And so now I was watching. So now I have to watch. My thesis is fade all day, so now I have to see, where do I add next? And the only time I add next is when I know that the next level is in. And stock came down, did a double under VWAP, and then came back up. Tried to go, didn't go. I was hoping it would pop up over here. Usually they pop over levels to scare people. Didn't do it, came down, so I didn't add yet because I was hoping it would come back up here. And came down again, and finally it was going a yes. I was excited. I thought it was going to go around this level, and just didn't go and came down. I still didn't short because this is not a snap. That's just a pullback. As it came down, I was hoping it would go again one more time and didn't even do it, suggesting it would be more bearish. Completely just snapped and faded. So I added on this pop, assuming now that there's no reason that this should come back up here again. Now, this no longer was my risk though. My risk was up, still the same spot, because this, I recognize, my thesis here, but this here is, this is 10:30, 11:30 a.m. A lot of stocks base around 10:30, 11 a.m. And this could easily do a literally like 4 or 5 candle move like up to here just to scare people. So, setting my stop here is not reasonable, and that's also a VWAP. You can't just set your stop like that at VWAP. It doesn't make any sense. That's not giving yourself room to work. So, so the size that I added here obviously was not as much as I added here. This was a heavy add here, thinking the stop was done. So, now like, that you probably have an average of somewhere, around here now, with 10, 15 cent risk, nicely up. So you always want to cover into the emotional spot, and the emotional spot is quite obviously under open price. always under open price would be a very emotional spot. As soon as it breaks there, a lot of longs are going to sell, and uncertainty, and a lot of even shorts might chase this down. So covering into the washes, even cover a little bit before, don't be too greedy. And like I said, a lot of stocks based around 10:30, 11 a.m. So 11 a.m. came, I didn't get that pop up here, and so pretty much was all out. I think it was completely all out. And yeah, I just kind of waited for key squeeze key levels, and they never really came. I was hoping it would come up over and just kind of didn't really do anything. I threw on like a couple hundred shares here and there, but at the end of the day, it just didn't go. So, but those are the key levels with that stock. So one of the main trades today was on DDD, and people were trying desperately to find the stock at the top on this thing. It was just insane. This thing was just going and going and going. And you know, my question is, with my current strategy, is why do you think you have to find the top? Okay, because here you go, right? Pre-market, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. There's no reason to short it. Give me a reason to short. That's just because it's up from 18 to, you know, it looks like a short, but just because it looks like a short doesn't mean it is a short. And you know, that could be, you know, looking at this, that could look like the top, right? Looks kind of toppy, some red candles. But again, is that really an opportunity? You could guess, you could think you're right, you could add, and you could be wrong, and you could add. Is that the top? Does it stop? Ooh, there's the top. Oh shoot, stopped out for the 5th time. That's the, oh. So as you can see, you know, we're going parabolic. There's still no reason to short. And, you know, there's just no reason to short. So my strategy is all about knowing the reason, why you're reason to short. And the first part is drawing the trend line and understanding, okay, what is, you know, where is the trend? What does the trend look like? Where are we at? And so just understanding where that's at. That's probably not a very good representation of the trend, but yeah, that's a better representation. So stock comes down, consolidates, you know, looks like, okay, maybe that's the top, it's starting to consolidate. Came up, tried to break high of day and failed. Okay, double fail, that has to be the top, right? That has to be the top. So definitely going to short there for sure, right? Came up again and failed. So at this point, when I was trading the stock, I knew this was a long right there, because the stock had come up. We thought it was the top, tried to break out, failed. Probably if you didn't short here, you definitely shorted here. And if it came up the 3rd time and failed again, you're you're definitely short. But then again, are you? Because it's consolidating and it's holding after it's quote unquote failed 3 times. So obviously someone's holding it. Obviously there's tons of shorts in this thing. So shorts will be bent. And I should have longed once I saw this. So the fail, and then I saw the consolidation, consolidate, consolidate, and perk. And right there, based on this prior past history, that is your long signal. That is saying that literally you have failed once, 2, 3, 4, consolidated, held the same level, and now you're perking on air, and there's hardly any resistance. And the stuff there over this level, again, you could say that's another stuff, but what did it do after it stuffed? Did it go down? No, it perked again. So, you know, at this point, you could pretty much buy any size you want because this thing is going up and there's no reason to go anywhere else. So we're still looking for the top, right? And so this is the squeeze, still looking for the top, still looking. Draw a little bit of our trend line here. I don't know if I used this trend line or what I used, but I believe we'll leave this trend line in there. But I believe I was looking at this new trend that had started since the beginning of the squeeze, is what I was focused on. And so as it came up, a bunch of dollars here, I was very interested now for the short. Now I knew this section was all squeeze, so you keep your trend line going, keep your trend lines going, convergence of points coming up here, and was watching and watching and watching. So when you're shorting the peak, when you're shorting the top, there's two key points that you want to happen. First of all, you want high volume. You always want high volume. If the stock looks like it's breaking out and people are going long, once it snaps, people are going to have to sell. And if people are going to have to sell and shorts are piling in, it's definitely going down. So when do people sell? When there's a sell signal. What is a sell signal? A sell signal is when there's breakage of trend, when there's a huge red candle, when there's lots of volume, and the price action is heavy in the selling. So you don't need all those components, but the more components you have, the more confidence that I have. So we have some high volume candles, some of the highest volume. We have some wicks that are being sold, and as this came up here, had a little bit of a higher one, a little bit of desperation move, and was watching and watching, and then just snapped this piece right here. So there's still this here, came right down heavy, highest volume candle. So if you just draw a little bit of a trend line here, you can see from that last move, just completely, came onto the trend and just completely barfed right after sold candle, small red candle, and just the candles before the snap matter to me as well. But the point is that this was the largest red candle yet. We thought it was the top. We know this was a squeeze. Time frame 1300, very, very typical for the top of stocks. Time frame matters a lot. If this is 9:35, if this is 9:45, this means nothing to me. But again, all the components, the time frame, the candle spread, the type of candles before, when it happens, how does it come over onto the snap? If this had come up like this, and that red candle had snapped down onto the trend line, right, or way above the trend line or whatever, it doesn't really mean much to me. But on or through the trend line is extremely bearish and around 1300, and we know this thing is up way, way too high. So always on either in the candle or on the next candle, ideally, which this was amazing, it gave pop. So short of 2430s, full size. Literally full size, because this is a sell signal. So there's no reason for the stock to do anything but to go down. As the stock goes down, you just got to figure out your cover points. Obviously, if you're shorting full size, you want to cover at least half as soon as possible. So probably around there into the move to pay yourself and just make sure that that you're doing that. And so just knowing where, take a look at some support lines, around 20, 21. There's a bit of, one where it started breaking out here. And so just covering right away to pay yourself. And then, ideally, this thing kind of just came right down and didn't really do much. But the second time to short this stock was probably right around, I believe it consolidated for a little while right there. This, again, my thesis is it comes up, it's bullish, and people were buying, and then it slammed. This was a huge flush. And right there, you could have shorted again full size for a little 50-cent scalp. But that's a completely different thing. So, but again, that is what the top looks like. Volume, technical analysis, price action, time frame, put it all together with trend lines, and you've got almost 100% chance of success.